This is the Milo Beasley Show. This is the Milo Beasley Show. There's only one thing you need to know. This is the Milo Beasley Show. And now, here's your host, Milo Beasley.
And welcome to the Milo Beasley Show, episode number 351. Oh, man, well, I still can't believe it. I'm so excited for our next guest. So please help me welcome at this time. You've seen her on a ton of things. Believe me, you have. Great character actor. Please help me welcome Irene White. How are you doing?
I'm really good. That was a really nice intro, and I'm blushing.
I'm so happy to have you on the
Thank
show. Huge fan of Superstore, and I know a lot of people are. What was that? How many seasons?
6. Yeah, the first season was short. It was like 13 episodes, but yeah, 6 seasons. Yeah.
But that's still 6 seasons nowadays. Seems like a long time for a show.
It's a lifetime, I think, for a TV show to be on for that long. Yeah.
So, you're an LA person?
I am. Yep.
How long have you been there?
So, I originally moved here in 1996.
Okay.
And then from 2010, I'm from Texas. And from 2010 to 14, I moved back to Austin because I thought, honestly, I just thought it was going to be easier there or something. And then in 2014, I moved back here to Los Angeles.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm really glad I did.
So you like it? So you like that LA lifestyle?
I love it. I have met some of the best friends in my life here, and I really love it. I know people don't like Los Angeles, but I don't really know why. I mean, I guess there's like, the traffic, whatever, but I love it.
That's great. I'll be there in a couple. Well, I'll be in LA. I'll be in Anaheim. I'll be up there for D23 in a couple weeks. So. Yeah, super excited. Are you a Disney fan?
I am. Yes, I am.
I'm telling you, if you're a Disney fan, you have to hit up D23.
It's a lot of crowds.
Yes.
Okay,
especially
right now. Yeah, right now I don't know that I'm up for the crowds, but I've had I do currently have a season pass to Disneyland, and I had one for years and years and years. But I don't know that I'm going to renew it because it's just a lot more difficult to, it's just a big process now, which I totally understand. I understand why they're doing that, but it's because I like to go by myself, and it's still a big process.
Right. And so I live in Orlando. So if you want to, so I have the same, if you want to go just willy-nilly, you have to go and make that reservation, and there may not be reservations, so you can't just be like, I just want to go to the park today. So I understand completely.
Yeah, which I used to do, and the parking is expensive. It all adds up to like a long day.
Right, absolutely. But I mean, the thing, if they say if you have a pass, it's best to keep it because you may not be able to get a new one.
I know. And yes, I know they stopped selling them in maybe April or May.
Mm-hmm.
And I only got one because I had been like a, legacy pass holder or something like that. And then they've stopped. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then on the other spectrum, the Universal spectrum, that's where Superstore was filmed, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So as a theme park lover, I mean, that had to be the coolest thing for you. Did you get a chance to like sneak into the park or do like the backlot tour? Because the Superstore, I guess, studio, what do you want to call it?
The soundstage.
The soundstage is like right off of.
Okay,
you pass it, right?
Yeah, let me fill you in.
Okay.
So so that the outside of the store, the exterior of the store was on a street called Barham, which is you could see it when you drive up Barham. There was a big parking lot in front of it, and it was just a facade. We actually shot in 2 sound stages that were further on the studio lot. So that was just a facade, but they tore it down the day after we wrapped.
Oh,
yes. Like the day we wrapped on whatever day it was. And then the next day there were like bulldozers, like going through.
That's crazy. I remember doing the backlot tour, and they drove by and they had one of the bay doors open, and you could look inside and see like all the shelves. And then there was another tour that had stopped, and they were taking pictures inside. And I was like, man, and honestly, like, that's just the coolest thing.
It was so cool. The set decorators and designers did such a good job. Like, I took my parents on a tour, and because they even lowered the ceiling and put in fluorescent lights, so it looked like a store. It had products, and my parents were just like, this looks like a literal store with the same like seasonal signage and all of that kind of stuff. It was like incredible, the amount of work they did.
Absolutely. So did you get a chance to like sneak into the park, or
the first season, apparently there was a gate that eventually got closed because that people were sneaking in. I never did it because I'm a good girl. Come on now. So I never did it, but then they locked it or figured it out or something like that. So I never did that. But it was fun when the tram would come through on the tour, and we would be wearing our vests if we were walking too. And then the truth is, most times people did not recognize us. Like, Superstore was a popular show for some people, but a lot of people still have never heard of it. And so a lot of times the trams would just drive by and it was like nothing. But then occasionally there would be somebody on the tram who was like, and got so excited. And it was always, because I used to take that tour. I took that tour like when I was in 3rd grade, we went and all that. And you always think, I'm going to see somebody. And so it was kind of fun to be on the other side of being like, oh my God, I'm being seen. I don't know. It was exciting. It was exciting.
Absolutely. And then just to be able to work like right across the way from like the clock tower from Back to the Future is
or
like,
Jaws or whatever.
I'm just looking at that every day.
Yeah, it was really like to work on a lot, in my opinion. And you have lots in Orlando too.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
We have sound stages.
Yeah, exactly. And so like there's something about driving on a lot and like being like, I'm here to work. It just feels so like life affirming.
Right.
Just exciting and like, I'm doing it, It's great.
They tend to use, they use our sound stages for some things, but for the most part now they just use them for Halloween Horror Nights for their houses. Have you it's Halloween, it's just about Halloween season. Have you done Halloween Horror Nights, or is that not your...
I am a fraidy cat. No, I don't like anything scary. And I think that those Universal Hollywood Horror Nights, whatever, I think they are scary. Like people jump out at you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, and there's like zombies. Like people following you around. I'm like, no.
Yeah, they would follow. Yeah, so the thing is, the key is to not look scared.
Oh.
Because once they know that you are scared,
once they sense fear,
then they get their hooks in you, and then yes.
So you just are like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to be like, whatever.
That would be a real exercise for me. That would be hard.
And along with again working at the sound stage and working at Universal, did you have to work during the pandemic?
Okay,
and how was that?
Yeah, so we wrapped. So it would have been season 5 early because of the pandemic.
Okay.
Only I think by one episode, and I wasn't actually going to be in it anyway, so it sort of didn't affect me. I was already wrapped for the season.
Oh, okay.
But they did wrap early. And then so we went back to shooting, I'm going to say maybe like September of 2020.
Oh, still
yeah.
relatively soon.
For out here in California, it was very soon. And I think that's when it was. Well, I know that is when it was. And so we were, tested like 2 or 3 times a day at one point. The actors were. And then I think it went down to twice a day, and then it went down to once a day. But it was, and there was an kind of an informal request that like you not hang out with people, that basically you try to make Superstore your bubble,
right?
Which I think people did as much as they could. But so we did work. We worked from September to February. So it's amazing to me. I was just talking about this with somebody else from the show. Like we wrapped before vaccines, and we didn't ever have to shut down. I don't know how it happened.
Oh, wow.
It's very odd now to think of that, because every set here is completely different now. I think they're relaxing it some, but yes. So to answer your question, yes, we did. We worked during what my friends call the high pandy.
Right, man. I couldn't imagine. I'm sure the restrictions and like you said, places that you could go.
Yeah, and it was nerve-wracking too, because as an actor, I mean, I'm sure you would understand this. Like even now, like if I book a commercial, I get COVID tested, and if I test positive, I lose that job. They have a backup. Yes.
Right. It's not like they're just going to put it on hold.
No, it's not like your office says, okay, we'll stay home next week, work from home. It's like you don't get to work. And so that's how it was then too. It was just, we were tested a lot. And if you tested positive, you would just be sat home and they would write you out of the episode. And so there was, I mean, what else could they do at that point? It was like, well, see you in 2 weeks or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So you had to make sure. Yeah.
So it was like, it was nerve-wracking. It's still kind of nerve-wracking, but back then it really, really was. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine. Do you, now when you go and you have to go grocery shopping, do you ever get recognized at the grocery store?
I do sometimes. Yeah, I do sometimes. It does happen occasionally. Yeah, less so with masks. But
I would,
because we're still kind of masking out here, and although that's going away, but yes, I do. Yeah, I actually earlier this year I was in Yuma with my boyfriend and his parents. We were walking in like downtown Yuma, and somebody, which is not a big place, and somebody across the street goes, "Carol," and I was like, "Yes." And it was some guy who was like, "Hi, I watched the show," or something. It's like, oh, good. So yeah, it does happen. It's nice when it happens. It makes me happy.
Yeah, that's fan. And I mean, at a grocery store, that's got to be just the weirdest thing, you know. Like, do you find yourself like, man, I feel like I'm on set?
That's a good question. Not really. Here, because there's so many actors, I feel like, I mean, Brad Pitt probably doesn't go to the grocery store, but I'm sure there are bigger celebrities who go to the grocery store. So I wonder sometimes if it's even really a big deal for people, or if they're like, hey, you're on that show. It's like, I am. And here I am buying toilet paper or whatever. You know?
Just one more Superstore question before we move on, and that is, have you, Irene, ever crashed a wedding?
Have I ever crashed a wedding?
Yeah,
no.
Carol style.
No. I have not crashed a wedding. No, I was trying to think if I've ruined a wedding. No, no, I have not. I
Do
have
you
not
think you
crashed a
could?
wedding.
Do you think you could go in there Carol style, guns ablazing?
Like kidnap somebody's cat and the like. Uh, I would have to be. I would have to. This is what I think about Carol. People think she was like a villain or whatever, but like Carol just had really big feelings and very strong convictions. So I would have to have extremely strong convictions in order to go in and crash somebody's wedding. I would have to be like, what you are doing is wrong. And although perhaps I have thought that at a couple of weddings that I've been to, I've never actually voiced it.
For better or worse, as
Yeah.
they say.
Yeah.
Let's time travel back a little bit. What was so you move out to LA in
Yeah.
96. What was your first gig that you saw yourself on television? Was it a TV show? Was it a commercial?
It was a commercial.
Okay.
The first, I got my SAG card by doing extra work on a show called The Naked Truth, which was a Téa Leoni show. And that's how I got my SAG card. And so that would have been the first time I saw myself on television, but I didn't have any lines, but I played like a student in an acting class. And so you could see me. So that's probably the first time I saw myself. The first time I really saw myself, it was a commercial for Lipton iced tea. And that and it ran. So like I saw it a lot, and it was very, very exciting. Yeah. But the first job I saw myself where I spoke was an episode of Dharma and Greg. And that was also very exciting. And I only had one line, and it was a fantastic experience. Like it was very, very exciting. And that was on the 20th Century Fox lot. And that was, so exciting to like have a drive on and like a trailer and, all of that kind of stuff. It was like, I've made it,
Now, when you have one line, you're just like, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up.
Yes. Yeah. Because I did, after that, I did an episode of Friends, and the show at the time, I had friends who had said, be very careful, they fire people.
Ooh.
And like during the week, they are I don't even think it's just Friends. I think that is very common, that after a table read and then they get somebody on set and then people get replaced all the time. So, and in fact, it did happen. There was a guy who was there the first day, and the next day there was somebody else reading his part. So yes, if you have a small part, you're like, I'm replaceable. I better not be invisible, but like, don't cause any trouble. Just say my line. I had a teacher, a casting director in a class once say, if you have one line, the scene is never about you, ever, ever, ever. It's never about you. And I thought that is great. That's a great tip. Like if you're the waiter, you're not like, and here's your sandwich. You're like, and here's your sandwich. Like, it's not about you, because he worked on Frasier, and he was like, because Frasier is going to have the joke. The waiter is not going to have the joke. And it was like, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I have to ask, because on your website, you're a shameless cat lover.
I am. And so I have to tell you, I am a shameless cat lover. Love cats. Your
go-to on your crashing a wedding was not causing your go-to was stealing a cat.
Stealing a cat, threatening to kill it. I know. It really went against type. It was difficult for me with that. We had a fake cat, thankfully. I love cats. I have had multiple cats. My last cat died in May. You're reminding me that I need to maybe adjust my website. And then I was like, well, I'm going to get a dog. It felt like a betrayal to get another cat.
Okay.
Which maybe doesn't make sense, but that's where my mind was. I was like, I'm going to get a dog. And so I got a puppy. I really went for it. And she's here now. She's asleep, which is good. But it's been, I cannot say I'm a shameless dog lover. It's been a challenge. It's been
what kind of puppy?
She's a Havanese. Which is in the Maltese family. So she's small. And she's very sweet, and she's just being a puppy. And everybody had told me that dogs are harder than cats. And I heard it, but it went like in one ear and out the other. Like honestly, nobody could have, there's nothing anybody could have said to me that would have made me go, I was like, I got it. And it's been, I don't got it, is what I've learned. It's been great. Do you have pets?
I do. I have a dog and a cat.
Okay, you do. Yeah. Yeah. Cats are just simpler. They're not necessarily easier. I mean, they do different things that are things that you have to sort of manage, but they're simpler. They seem to be simpler beings to me in a way.
Could you see yourself getting another cat anytime soon?
I don't think anytime soon. No, I think I will in my life have another cat, but I think I want to have more space and get things settled with my pup.
I get it. Absolutely. How is like your neighborhood? Is it loud like LA style? Or are you?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's loud, but that doesn't seem to bother her actually, which is
good.
Which is good. It's funny. My boyfriend and I went on a trip out to wine country a couple of weeks ago, and we took her and we were out at a vineyard, and it was very quiet, and she was terrified. Like did not want to move. Then as soon as we got back into the city, which wasn't even the city, it's just like a small town, and there were like cars and sidewalks and people, she like perked up. She was like, aha. So she's like a city dog.
She's a city dog. Okay.
Not a country dog.
So speaking of boyfriends, when I was doing my research a couple of days ago, and I found this. I always find these facts about.
Okay, great.
So I did find it. There was 10 facts about Irene White.
Oh, really? What are they?
And they were the most. I saved a couple of them because, I mean, these things they're so vague that
I love it.
Okay, so one says about her relationship. She hasn't shared anything about her being in a relationship with her boyfriend or being married to her husband. So
okay, so I haven't, but now I have shared something.
But I laugh because the way that it reads, it sounds like you haven't told your husband about your boyfriend.
Wait, read it again.
So it says about her relationship. She hasn't shared anything about her being in a relationship with her boyfriend or being married to her husband.
Yeah, I haven't told my husband.
There's another one that I made an ugly laugh sound when I heard this one. Gifted well physically, she stands at a decent height in maintaining body weight.
Oh, you know what? Okay. I'm 5'7".
These are facts about you.
They're facts about me. What does it say? I maintain what?
You're maintaining body weight.
I am maintaining body weight. That's true.
I saved these two just because they were like just so not full of non-info.
They truly look. They seem like they were written by what's it called, like a bot or something.
Right. That's pretty much what it. Yeah.
I wonder where they get even that information about like my height or whatever. But they don't even say what my height is.
They don't say what you're. No, they just say that you're a decent height. That you're not tall. Nice. You're not tall. You're not short.
I'm just decent.
You just.
I'm
Put
just
that in your,
decent.
you should put that in your Twitter bio.
Yes.
Decent height.
Yeah, I'm decent height, maintaining body weight. I should put that in my Twitter bio.
I thought those two were fantastic, and yeah, it's just weird the things that I guess if they don't have anything, they just try to.
They got to fill the internet somehow.
But they do, and the
Yeah.
internet is just full of stuff.
Just stuff.
Just
stuff.
So you're a, I guess you're a theater. Would you consider yourself a theater geek?
I would say I used to be a theater geek.
Used to.
I mean, I still love theater, but I guess in my mind, a theater geek is somebody who still does theater, and I haven't done any theater in, like 8 years. I love doing theater actually, but and I've seen a lot of plays, and I know a lot of plays in my college degree is in theater, so I definitely love theater. But I don't. I mean, I'm trying to think the last play that I saw.
Yeah, that was literally going to be my next. Yeah,
question. What's the last thing that I saw live? So I mean, you know what? I saw a play with my friend Shannon at a small theater here in maybe February. Yeah, it was like a new play, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was good. That's the last thing I've seen.
I was one of my previous guests. I had in a lot of guests live in LA, but they came from New York, and so they said that it was a little tough, but they were able to maintain their theater lifestyle. They still, that the LA theater life was very underrated.
I mean, I think we're entering kind of post-COVID here now. There's a surprising amount of theater here. Like, there's a lot of theater, and a lot of it is very accessible. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually have seen a few shows, because I saw a show downtown at the Taper, and then I've seen some other stuff too. So, but there's a lot of theater here. There's a lot of opportunity to perform. And I've seen improv. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. Now, have you been here before? You have.
Yes, I've been. Yes, I've done. I've been there quite a few times. I've done mostly kind of touristy type stuff. If I have downtime. So like my favorite movie is Back to the Future. So I looked up like all the filming locations, like the Burger King, everything that like.
Did you go out to the mall?
I did. So there were two places that I wasn't able, that I didn't go to. One was the Puentes Hill Mall.
Right. Okay.
And then the other place I wasn't able to get in. They wouldn't let me into the church, so I could go to the gym where the Enchantment Under the Sea dance was. And I was like, I'm being shut out of a church. I was like, come on.
I wonder, do you think people try to go there all the time and do that?
100%. Yeah, they knew. Yeah.
And where was that church? Do you remember?
It's right up, like it's right off Hollywood Boulevard. It is right behind.
Oh, it's right there.
The church is right behind the Dolby, or what did it used to be? The Kodak.
It used to be the Kodak. I know what church that is. I know. Yes. I didn't realize that's where they filmed that. Okay.
Yeah, they filmed it in the
gymnasium.
A gym in that church, and that's where they filmed the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. And Puente Hills, that's pretty far.
Right. That was why I did it. Yeah. But I still hit some of the Burbank stuff. Like I went to the Burger King. There's the rec center out in Burbank is where they shot the Battle of the Bands scene with Huey Lewis. So like I stood right in the middle. And I was like, this is where Huey Lewis stood.
Oh my God, amazing.
So, I've done things like that. And then of course, just do the, theme parks and kind of other touristy things along the way. But that's what you do when you don't live there, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, when we went to, you're reminding me that my family went on to Universal Studios in like, it must have been like, what year did Back to the Future come out? 86, 85, 86?
85.
Okay. All right. So we went in fall of '87. We came out here for a trip and we went through Universal Studios. I had a huge crush on Michael J. Fox. He might have been off Family Ties at that point. I'm not really sure, but I was convinced that we were going to run into him on the tour, like that he was going to see me on the tram and be like, you come here, that it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
It could still there's still time.
I guess so. Yeah.
They could film a Back to the Future 4. I mean, I hope they don't, but they could.
Yeah. Do you know, I've never seen the other two. I've only seen the first one. I loved it, and I never wanted to see any more.
They hold up.
Really? All three of them?
Yes. The third one, a lot of people don't like the third one. I think it's a great movie because it's Doc Brown's movie. It's about him.
Is that the Western one?
Yes.
Okay.
So the second one is super cheesy, and I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in fact, like everything behind me is all Back to the Future, signs, posters, pictures of me with the cast and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's
my friend, Dave. Do you know Dave Holmes?
Name sounds familiar. Why does the name sound familiar?
So he was an MTV VJ.
Yes.
And he's a very good friend of mine and Christina Hayes's, who you've interviewed. And he interviewed Huey Lewis recently, went up to his ranch and interviewed him for Esquire. This is pre-COVID, so it's probably 2 years ago. It's fantastic. And he had nothing but good things to say about him. That he's just like cream of the crop. Great guy. Which I'm not surprised.
Right.
He seems like it.
That's fantastic. I love to hear things like that.
Yeah.
I love to hear things like that.
Yeah.
So one thing I do want to talk about before we get to what we call the frequently asked questions is I don't know how much you can talk about, but you kind of hinted at an appearance in Mindy Kaling's Never Have I Ever.
Yes. So I'm in, I think I'm in it. I think I'm only in one episode. I think it's episode 8 of the season that just came out on Friday. And I haven't seen it yet. I don't generally watch my stuff. I remember the experience of it, and then but it was a great experience. And one of the reasons it was so great is because we now we have to do a lot of auditioning at home, and which is why I have a blue wall for my auditions. Right. And it's but so this was a self-tape, and at that point I had not booked anything off of self-tape, and I was really discouraged, and I was just like, I'm not going to try to get it right. I'm just going to do what I do. And then I booked it, and it was a wonderful set, wonderful crew, wonderful cast. I only worked for one day, but I got to go back to Universal, and it was like, oh yes, I remember this. It was just fantastic. It was fantastic. Great. Yeah, it was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's such a good show,
Right. Was Mindy Kaling on set?
She was not there. Okay. But I did a commercial with her.
Oh.
For Audible. This is, I bet, 3 years ago now. She was fantastic. She was just great. She was so fun, so smart, so professional, so she was great. She was great. I mean, she would not remember me, but I remember her, and it was a really good experience. Yeah,
that's fantastic. All right, so a thing we like to do on our show is called the Milo Beasley Show Frequently Asked Questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you the same 5 questions that I asked all my guests.
Okay.
All right, are you ready? There's no right or wrong answers, theoretically.
Okay.
All right. I say that, and of course. Question number 1. What was the first concert you ever attended?
Olivia Newton-John, the physical tour. My father took me for my 12th birthday.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, so last week obviously must have hit you pretty hard.
Yeah. It was, it's funny, I loved Olivia Newton-John. I loved Xanadu particularly. I never cared about Grease, and I know a lot of people loved Grease. I never cared about it. Xanadu was my like drug of choice. And so my father took me to this concert. We were living in Houston at the time. And I remember I wanted a concert t-shirt and they were, I think, $20. And my dad was like, no, I'm not going to buy you one. And the next day at school, all the girls were wearing this like concert t-shirt. So I've been looking for one forever. And now, of course, they're like astronomical. You know, they were already astronomical. They were already like $300 for one, but you know, that was like ripped and stained. And now they're like more expensive. But that was my first concert.
That's fantastic. I was blessed. I was able to see her a couple of years ago. She actually played at Universal.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, at Universal Orlando. And I got to see her, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And this concert, what I remember is that we were pretty high up, but they had, I guess they had screens even at that point in 82. But for when she sang I Honestly Love You, she just like sat on the edge of the stage and was like, I love you. And it was like, like it was so amazing. Like it was such a good concert. Like that lady had some bops.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 2. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Have you had weird things? Have you seen things?
I don't know that I have, but I definitely believe in a spirit world and that people are around. And I mean, I would say I believe in kind of good ghosts.
Okay.
That's sort of, but I definitely think that there are spirits that are around us all the time. I do believe that.
I don't know what I mean. Yeah, I guess I kind of maybe when you phrase it like that, kind of, but I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Question number 3. It's a twist on a common question. In a movie about your life, who would play your parents?
Okay. Do they have to be alive?
I mean, I would say yes because it's
we're making the movie.
It would be a movie, but if there's somebody who is not, then I like this question because it tends to give me a better understanding of people and what their parents are like.
Okay, so but the actors need to be alive.
Preferably,
Yes.
but if you have if you have one that's off, you know, you're like, oh, this person, but they've passed. I would,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, because like I would like Walter Matthau would play my dad, but he's dead. So if we're looking for a live person, I think probably let's see, to play my mom, I'm gonna say even though she's not that much older than me, Olivia Colman. She has some of the, especially in Fleabag, she had certain qualities that reminded me of my mother. Like I think she could really play the hell out of my mom. And to play my dad, I'm going to say Bob Newhart.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. It. All right. Question number 4. Who's your favorite person to follow on social media?
My favorite person to follow on social media. Okay. She is a Peloton instructor.
Okay.
And her name is Jess King. And
yes, I'm familiar.
Okay. I just love to follow her on social media. I also love to follow Hannah Frankson, who's also a Peloton instructor.
Are you bike or tread?
I bike.
Bike.
Yes.
After this, we're gonna have to like exchange Peloton.
Oh, we will. We will. I love Peloton. I know they are embattled right now, but I love Peloton. I
haven't been on in so long. Was recovering from injury, but I need to get back on soon. I need to get back on the tread soon. I have some races coming up.
Oh, you have the tread too. I would like to get the tread. I don't have space for it right now.
Right. That was the biggest thing is the space.
Yeah.
Because it's big.
Yeah.
But the bike is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm all about it. I have the Peloton guide the thing that goes on the TV for strength work.
Oh, right.
This is how I do strength work, like this. That's how I have decent size and a decent
that's how you
height.
That's how you maintain your body weight.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 5. Now, whether this was on set, at a premiere, just somewhere in LA, what has been that biggest fanboy moment where you saw somebody and you just fanboyed out, you couldn't speak? Or is there where you ran up to somebody and had to talk to them and talk their ear off?
Okay. This came to me very quickly. So I love the Spice Girls. Love them. Love them.
Right. All these rumors of this tour is making me insane.
Making me crazy, right? I went to the tour here in 2007. No one would go with me. I went by myself. It was amazing. The show was fantastic. I love them. No, there's no irony. So there's a big mall here called the Beverly Center. And this is easily 20 years ago. I was there on a Sunday and I was waiting to go into like Macy's or something like that. I think it opened at 11. So it's like 10:45. And I see Posh Spice there. And she has a baby at this point, and it may be like her first or second baby. But I knew who she was immediately. This is before her husband was playing for the team here.
Right.
He played for a soccer team here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when that was, but this was like when the Spice Girls were kind of like on the outs a little bit. They, Ginger had left and all that. And so I knew exactly who it was. And she was with her mother. She had a baby in a stroller, or a pram, as they say. And I was like, I just have to find a reason to talk to her. I have to talk to her. So I went up and I said, excuse me, do you know what time it is? And she said, it's so it must have been a half hour. She said, it's past. That's what she said. And I said, thank you so much. And that was it. And I was just like, this was like way pre-cell phones, all of that kind of stuff. She was wearing white jeans. She had like an asymmetrical haircut. I was like,
that's a great question. That's a great lead in too, because you don't want to seem too over anxious.
Oh no, I was totally like, oh, excuse me. Never mind that I was probably wearing a watch. It's probably like, excuse me. What time is it?
Yeah, and because they're not going to ignore you, they're going to answer you, and then
And now everybody would have it. Everybody would have a cell phone, but back then, it's the dark ages. I needed to know what time it was.
That's so good. I'm gonna have to try to remember that one.
past. I can't do a good British accent, but you can imagine how she said it.
Right. So before we wrap up here, I want to thank you for coming on the show and chatting with me. If people want to find you on the socials, they want to follow you, see what you're doing next, where can they do that?
So both of my Twitter and my Instagram are at the Irene White, all one word.
Right down there.
Yeah.
And then are you pretty active on the socials?
I'm more active on Instagram than I am on Twitter. Okay. I do have a website that I obviously need to update because it says I do still love cats though. But yeah, those are the two that are the most active, Twitter and Instagram.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and chatting with me today.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
I had an absolute blast talking about maintaining body weight and kidnapping cats. I mean, it's what you do, right?
Oh my God. Yes, exactly.
So again, thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. Again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, but more importantly, tell your friends. I would love you forever if you told everybody that you knew. Again, thank you so much. Any last words before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Thank you so much. And we will see you all next week.